Hola a todos, mi nombre es Alice Wood, soy la gerente de Sostenibilidad de la Asociación de Editores del Reino Unido. But I haven't spoken Spanish for quite a few years, so I'm going to do the rest of the presentation in English. But before I do, I just want to say muchas felicidades for the result on Sunday. I do actually think the better team won, so yeah. So who are we and who do we represent? We are the Publishers Association in the United Kingdom, and we are the member organisation for the UK publishing industry, representing companies of all sizes and specialisms. So our members produce digital and print books, research journals, and educational resources across genres and subjects. So currently we have 191 members and associate members across all sectors of publishing, covering consumer, academic, and education. What do we work on? So we have many work streams at the Publishers Association. We work alongside publishers and industry partners to support the industry with new developments in artificial intelligence. And one of our key objectives is to promote intellectual property, particularly copyright, and work to ensure that laws are enforced. We also support members to tackle physical and digital piracy threats, working with law enforcement and government agencies. We also work to ensure that the expertise of education publishers is recognised and that teachers and students have the resources they need for curriculums. We work alongside publishers and industry partners to improve diversity, equity and inclusion in the industry. And we work to ensure that online marketplaces respect the intellectual property and other rights of authors and content creators so that there are fair digital markets. We also believe that every school should be funded to have a library, and we support reading for pleasure initiatives through reading for pleasure initiatives like World Book Day. We're also committed to delivering the open access agenda. We work with researchers, institutions and funders to continue to promote research and innovation. And we promote the value of publishing and its contributions to the UK economy. And finally, we work on sustainability initiatives within the UK publishing industry, which is why I am here today. So I'm sure some of you, or maybe all of you, have heard of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, otherwise known as the SDGs, which were adopted by all UN member states as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in 2015, which was the same year the UN member states signed the Paris Agreement on climate change following COP21. You probably know this, but all 17 SDGs have between 8 and 12 targets, which each have between 1 and 4 indicators. When the goals were created, the aim was to reach them by 2030, but I think it's fair to say that this is looking increasingly difficult. And in the publishing industry, there is engagement with the SDGs through the SDGs Publishers Compact. Levels of engagement with the SDGs across the industry does vary, and there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. As an association, we are signatories of the SDGs Publishers Compact, as is this Fundación. And the Compact welcomes publishers, publisher associations, booksellers, and other organisations in the publishing industry all over the world to sign up to these principles. The Compact was launched in collaboration with the International Publishers Association and aims to accelerate the progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. And it does this by asking signatories to commit to the SDGs, actively promote and acquire content on the SDGs, annually report on progress towards the achieving SDGs, nominating a person who will promote SDG progress, raising awareness and promoting the SDGs among staff, raising awareness and promoting the SDGs among suppliers, becoming an advocate to customers and stakeholders, collaborating across cities, countries and continents with other signatories, dedicating budget and other resources towards accelerating progress and taking action on at least one SDG goal. So with that in mind, when the Publishers Association embarked on its sustainability journey, it was very aware that it could not tackle all of the goals at once. Our sustainability tools, which I am going to talk through, focus on Goal 12, responsible consumption and production, and Goal 13, climate action. But at the PA, we work on other initiatives that contribute to Goal 4, quality education, Goal 5, gender equality, and Goal 10, reduced inequalities. What have we done so far? At the Publishers Association, we convene a range of member councils, communities, and task forces to facilitate our work. Our sustainability journey started back in February 2020 when we set up our Sustainability Task Force with PA members and associate members to discuss issues and to come up with a sustainability strategy that the PA could work on. Working with the group, we came up with a three-pronged approach to sustainability, which was a Publishing Declares pledge, a carbon calculator, and a materials matrix. And then we hired me, the sustainability manager, to further develop these initiatives and support our members with them. We have 34 companies represented at the Sustainability Task Force, with 62 individual members from these companies. Our task force is a really engaged, enthusiastic, and diverse group with members from different sized organisations and across all sectors of publishing. The group is chaired by Judith Gates, who is the production director at Faber & Faber, which is an independent consumer publisher. And it's our biggest group at the PA, which really demonstrates how important a topic sustainability is to the UK publishing industry. What you can see on the screen here is our Publishing Declares pledge. This was the first initiative that we worked on with the Sustainability Task Force, and it launched in October 2021 with 39 founding signatories. It's the first UK industry pledge to commit to reduce impact and transform ways of working to combat the climate crisis. And as you can see, the pledge has almost 200 signatures now. Of these 199 signatories, 118 of them are publishers, 21 of them are in production and supply, 7 in bookselling, and 53 authors and illustrators. Not all of them are PA members, but all are involved in the publishing ecosystem. And signatories pledge to take action on climate, protect life on land, strengthen partnerships, advocate for sustainability, and educate for sustainability. Therefore, we wanted to make sure that we had tangible solutions available for our members to use and help deliver on the Publishing Declares pledge. So in September 2022, we launched our carbon calculator, which you can see on the screen here, and also our materials matrix in November 2022. So these tools are the first of their kind available in the UK book and journal publishing industry and have been the Publishers Association's biggest sustainability achievement to date. To create the tools, we worked with sustainability experts at the Research Institute of Sweden and a software company called Solstice. And these tools allow our members to confidentially calculate and monitor their carbon footprint across various aspects of their business, including different sites and departments. We actually relaunched this. It says version 1.0, but we do have a version 1.1, which we relaunched last summer to make it more user-friendly for people who don't have a real understanding of sustainability. So there's more information on each of the pages, but I'll take you through some of the pages now. So when you click the carbon calculator button, this is the first page that it takes you to, and here you can set up some projects. So I've got 2 test projects there for demonstration purposes. RISE 2021, that's the Research Institute of Sweden, 50 Southwark Street is the PA office. And you can also set up businesses and premises management and logistics routes to apply to your calculations. So when you click Edit Emissions, it takes you to this page. And on the screen is what is covered in the carbon calculator at the moment. So we have Scope 1 and 3 fuels, Scope 2 and 3 electricity, Scope 1 and 3 vehicles, Scope 3 employee commuting, Scope 3 business flights, Scope 3 business accommodation, Scope 3 printed product paper, printed product transport, printed product printing, and printed product logistics. So as an association, we are particularly proud that this tool covers Scope 3 because that can be typically the hardest to measure. Now this is the page if you were to click Scope 3 printed product printing. And this was what I was saying, we added some more information to these pages because it just used to have the calculations, and we had members saying to us, we don't really understand what we're calculating here, so we'd like some more information on that. So with this particular example, the tons of paper are multiplied by a default emission factor which was based on an average book printer based on estimations by the Research Institute of Sweden to calculate the carbon impact from printing. So this is one example of the emissions that you can calculate with our tool. Once you've done all your calculations, it takes you through to the summary of results, or your results page. And as you can see here, you can compare the different projects. So we have 50 Southwark Street there and RISE 2021. You can download these to Excel and distribute amongst your organisation, and you can also submit these anonymously to the Publishers Association. Now, what we found through user testing of our members is that as our members are all different shapes and sizes, they're all using our calculator in different ways, which is fine. But we had hoped to create a report on the data gathered to create a picture of the industry, but as we haven't had enough consistent data, truthfully, we haven't been able to do that yet, but we still hope. So that leads me on to a broader point about the challenges we've faced along the way, creating our tools and supporting our members with their sustainability journeys, is there's not one-size-fits-all approach to it. Every member has different priorities, they have different feasibilities, different resources available. So I'd say the biggest challenge as an association is balancing all of this, but trying to support our members with their sustainability journeys and meeting all of their needs. But one way we think we have done that is through our materials matrix. So this is accessed via the same portal as the carbon calculator that you've just seen. And this allows our members to see the most used materials in the publishing supply chain, well, what we think are the most used materials. I'm happy to be told otherwise, and assesses them according to a set of key environmental indicators. So if we were to click on paper and board underneath materials, it takes us through to this page, and you can see here all different types of paper. And if we were to click virgin wood-free and recycled content paper and compare it, it takes you through to something that looks a bit like this page. Now, there's a lot of text here, but I'll talk through it. So indicators that you can compare are geography, functional unit, recyclability, an environmental impact summary, the greenhouse gas emissions, energy efficiency, biodiversity, water footprint, plastic content, chemicals usage, and certifications. Now, where possible, every single field has got data in it. So in the comparison here, you can see that, well, I don't think you can see this, but I'll tell you that the average greenhouse gas emissions per tonne of virgin wood-free paper are 919.4 kilograms of CO2 versus 739.4 kilograms of CO2 per tonne of recycled content paper. And here we have a comparison of the recyclability of these two different types of paper. So as you can see, virgin wood-free is 100% recyclable, as is recycled content paper, but each time the paper is recycled, the fibres become shorter until they're no longer usable for paper making, and estimates of these times are between 7 and 21. So the materials matrix is an purely educational tool, doesn't require the submission of any data, and we've had feedback from our members that this has been really useful for supplying to other departments, say your marketing or sales team, who don't really know about these types of things, as you can download all of this to Excel and send it to different colleagues when you're making books. So those are very briefly our tools that we created as an association to support our members with their sustainability journeys. And now I'll take you back to our task force meetings very briefly. We hold our meetings 4 times a year, and we always host guest speakers to present on topics that our members want to learn more about and to help them keep up to date with this ever-changing landscape of sustainability policy and new regulations. So we had EcoVadis come and present their certification scheme. We had a company called Clarity come and talk about a UK plastic packaging tax, which is being introduced soon. We had Climate Impact Partners come and talk about offsetting. A company called Environmental Resources Management came to speak about the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, which will affect all our members. Ellen MacArthur Foundation, they're a charity, and they came to talk about the circular economy. We had D-Impact, or DIMPACT as we call them, talk about digital carbon impacts. Cornerstone, some of you may be aware of them, they came to talk to us about the Responsible Media Forum, of which Penguin are a member. And we had the amazing Rachel Martin come and talk about the Publishing 2030 Accelerator, as if by magic. And we had Enrico, we heavily rely on Enrico at the Federation of European Publishers to talk to our members about EUDR, about the deforestation regulations. Another group we've worked with is the UK Creative Industries Council. Because of our work on sustainability, and particularly our Publishing Declares pledge, we were invited to work on a creative climate charter with the Council and other creative industries associations, such as the Society of Authors, the UK Society of Authors, and the British Academy for Film and Television Arts, BAFTA. So the principle of the charter are, we devised this together, and that is to set ambitious and measurable targets, engage our audiences in climate action, work in a resource-efficient way, ensure the climate crisis is prioritised, speak up and out about the climate and biodiversity crisis, strengthen partnerships and collaborate, recognise the ethical imperative of the just transition, and to regularly report and publish our progress. But I must say, we signed this as the Publishers Association and not on behalf of our members. But we hope that us signing this inspires a principle within our members, and obviously our job as an association is to support our members enacting the principles. And finally, we surveyed all the signatories of Publishing Declares in March 2021 to see what progress they'd made since signing the pledge. So I'll go through some of the results here. 78% of the respondents were publishers, 18% were in book production and supply, none of the respondents were booksellers, and 5% of them were authors. So we asked them various questions about their environmental sustainability activities, starting with greenhouse gas emissions. So 81% of signatories said that they were calculating emissions by measuring their energy consumption within their own operations, so scope 1 and 2. And then for some reason, I'm not actually sure why we did this, but we asked specifically about business travel with scope 3, and 82% of respondents said that they were measuring their business travel. And 61% of respondents said that they had an emissions reduction target in line with the global ambition to limit warming by 1.5%. And then 42% of respondents said that they had officially committed to or set targets approved by the Science Based Targets Initiative. 48% of members said that they had published, signatories, not members, said that they had published a longer-term target to reach net zero as close to 2030 as possible and by 2050 at the latest. And despite us creating one, only 53% of respondents said they were using a carbon calculator to measure emissions, but not all of the respondents were PA members. So hopefully that number's higher. 85% of respondents said that they'd switched to purchasing renewable energy for their own operations in the markets in which they operate. 78% of respondents said they engage with key product suppliers to understand how they're managing their impacts on environment. And 91% of respondents said that they are committed to using more sustainable paper, whatever that means for the organisation, with a target to use paper certified by a robust international forest certification scheme and or recycled paper. And in the sustainability teams, 92% of respondents said they had someone at executive director level for responsibility. That drops to 68% for someone at mid-management level for sustainability, and then it drops again to 36% for someone at junior level responsible for sustainability. But 68% of respondents did say that they are committed to becoming climate literate and support their colleagues to bring that knowledge into their work. So that's positive. And then we asked them what were their main reasons for signing up to the Publishing Declares pledge initially, and we have here some quotes. But I think the middle quote here is the one that represents the industry and our sustainability task force, and that is, as a company, we firmly believe in the principles. So the industry truly believes that action needs to be taken, but truthfully, members are still working on how to do that. And that's very much, I think, what the survey results tell us. A lot of effort is being made in the industry when it comes to environmental sustainability, but we do still have a long way to go. So how do we spread our message? Well, we come to things like this. We talk on panels. We have sponsored the London Book Fair. We presented our carbon calculator, that middle picture there, at the London Book Fair. I convened a panel with the Director of Social Impact at Penguin Random House UK and the Director of Sustainability at Sage Publishing at the London Book Fair this year to talk about the Publishing Declares Pledge and to discuss the results of the survey. Susan spoke with the Mexican Publishers, my colleague Susan Pinckney, she spoke with the Mexican Publishers Association, the Portuguese Publishers Association and the FEP on association action. I spoke at an SDG event organised by Rachel as part of STM, which is the Science Publishing Association, in December, which was a very successful event, I think, Rachel. And that's my colleague Susan in the top right corner presenting our carbon calculator to the Independent Publishers Guild in the UK, as they have recently acquired our carbon calculator and materials matrix for their members. What are our future plans? Well, as I said, we've just licensed our carbon calculator to the Independent Publishers Guild, and they have 600 members in the UK. So that means that there are 600 more publishers who are able to use our carbon calculator. And we think that's really positive because we do want everyone to be reading from the same sheet. We want to all be figuring things out in a similar way. And hopefully with more data, we can acquire a bigger picture of carbon emissions within the UK publishing industry. We're also taking it global. We're looking at white labeling it to international associations. We're in the late stages of conversations with the Americans, so hopefully the American Association of Publisher Members will soon have our carbon calculator and materials matrix, and we're talking to other associations too. And we're really trying to push it out to our members to get more uptake, get more data, and generally this year focusing our efforts on upskilling our members through training and webinars so that they can enact the pledge points of Publishing Declares and achieve their climate goals. Gracias por escuchar. Thank you for listening. And do I have